new predictions, that would be cheating. Yeah.
Alright. Counterpoint not going for it, I'll answer the theory argument process. Counterpoints are not with this question whether they're topic specific or not. There's no unique abuse, consolidate condition, reverse condition, and sometimes and they have infinite prep speak first last, which means you should err. Negative competition checks abuse. We witness distinct tests that benefit that it's worth considering. Reject the argument, not the team. The reason it's reason the counterpoint's bad, not the reason you reject the team. The waiver counterpoint's the heart of the visa literature. Listens to Department of State's the means of overcoming visa ineligibility. So now lots to learn about the intricacies of the immigration debate. Immigration lawyers immediately mention the waiver counterpoint and show the resolution, and it checks back explicitly force them to defend the visa process exists for a limited number of abstract argument, not the team. Their terrorism argument is not offense about the visa waiver program, not the counterpoint, and we're going for it anyway. Now, the growth debate. Sorry, I forgot to tell you, I'm going to extend warming and terrorism first and then go back up to the top of the flow. Warming is conceded in the 2NC. We control the only extinction impact. Warming causes positive feedbacks to heat the earth, change agricultural cycles, make for global famine. This is the only reason that conflicts will ever occur. Qualitative historical comparisons proves zinc 7. Long-term fluctuations, war frequency, population change, fall cycles, temperature change, that worldwide synchronous war, peace, population, price cycles, and recent sections have been driven mainly by long-term climate change. Climate change may thus have played a more important role and impose wider range of effects on human civilization. This turns their case of interest. We can't have global cooperation if we are all fighting resource wars with one another, and climate change outweighs the high probability, high magnitude, Sullivan 7. In discussing how military leaders may interest attention often given the low probability, high consequence events, Western American defense have to focus on preventing Soviet missile attack, and that's to compare the risk of climate change with those of the Cold War. Sullivan said climate change inevitable. If we keep on with business, usually we'll face a reach point where some of the worst effects are inevitable. This looks more like a high probability, high consequence scenario, and the impact is quick, happens in 100 months. Guardian Weekly 8. In just 100 months, we could reach a tipping point for runaway climate change. When these gases accumulate beyond a certain level, tipping point global warming goes secondly beyond control. Positive feedback loss bias produces the ability to reflect heat by revealing darker surface, decreasing the ability of ocean to absorb clear CO2 to higher wind because of feedback. When critical thresholds past warming looks to do, if we stop releasing gas, the implication are catastrophic life. This is a irreversible climate change. Our co-analysis indicates that economic growth alone causes climate change in the United States. First because of increased coal, demand recession, less demand for electricity, and second is total emissions CO2 increased by over 25% in the past 30 years due to economic growth, despite efficiency gains. You should prefer evidence studies over the past 30 years. Prefer argument of 10% CO2 emission not growing the economy is in recession. That's based on the Chi identity empirical model. Now they did not make any technology arguments for the 2NC, but I can only assume that they will. In the one area that's the majority of their alphas about our co-evidence indicates that assuming tech products will stabilize emission progress in other areas of risk extinction. God having 9. Technophysics can't deliver carbon concept without being confident about drastic reduction consumption, swapping technology failed to address the root cause of this. There is a level of certainty, level of resources we need to survive as far as level and presently consuming energy consumption can be reduced. Ongoing growth eats up the improvement of overall consumption still rising. Investment with the maximum return for their mighty competition for land, water, soil, fertility, depletion, self-sufficient, poison problems, technical solution failed to address these fifth conditions. Go for deforestation. We simply need to consume less meat, less agriculture, less wood. Instead of investing in growth, the carbon, we should be asking why economic growth seems more important than survival. Now the terrorism debate, they again have mostly conceded this impact. They are making an argument that military prowess will be able to check it back, but our 1NC evidence indicates that economic growth is the main reason the terrorists want to attack the United States in the first place, because they see us as imposing our economic values upon them. They want to bring us down so we reach their level. Also makes a reverse causal argument because we draw people away from other countries like India and China with their families. Then we lessen their economy, which is a reason that terrorism springs up in those other countries. Then they want to attack the United States because we totally screwed them over. Now, by impact calculus, it'll be a bio attack, Grim and Talon 10. Commission overall assessment biological methods no good time starting out. Terrorists attack by 2013 manufacturing center found the national environmental lethality of bioweapon could exceed that from people the equipment required to produce a large quantity in weapons readily available stockpile weapon as fast to raise the respect to the terrorists could attack American state, then reload, attack again, and bad weapon in the hands of terrorists. Assumption known the international law contains retaliatory consequences, and that outweighs rogue legislation willing and able to use CVWs that spread rapidly and kill hundreds of millions in hours alone. All it causes extinction, but nuclear war doesn't sing or one. There is a small chance nuclear war would cause nuclear winter. The result of 100 nuclear tests are detecting radiation from full-scale nuclear change would have been modest compared to natural backward radiation. There are technologies that pose serious threats to survival. The most immediate biological warfare needed to swallow to be a low unprecedented. Well, the opportunity for spread weapon will be an all-time high. Infestations may be engineered for greater natural valence and mortality, and biological weapons can be controlled once they're released, making the escalation level equivalent 97. Initially, use of nuclear weapons might publicize that they recognize an overall decline in interest in opposing the different suppression. The direction would be going NATO offense escalation. Both would be looking for signs the other was ready to call halt, and the impact is linear. 1% increase in growth costs more than one more terrorist attack has 5. Richer host countries generate more terrorism, 1% entry income would divide one more terrorist attack for a year. But a terrorist left behind economy has chosen to strike against a country that had become more and more advantaged. And back at the top. Growth is slowing down now. Richardson cites 2 reasons. First is low inflation, sustained growth through low interest rates into consumer spending. Running second is aging as baby boomers retire, labor force growth will shrink slower, and economic growth will cause depression. The government is repairing the financial system, and there's no double dip. They didn't extend this, but it's in their what is the only more of why the economy is going to collapse and status quo is 2 or 9.6. Potential for double recession seems small. Short-term interest rates are the lowest they've been in over 50 years. The event that occurs, the economy is exiting recession. The banking industry is starting to feel earnings up. The sector, the economy is benefiting, getting worse. Pricing, commodity prices in general are not at levels to cause recession. There's not a period where all the segments of the economy that have the same overheated quality that housing has, and depression will be avoided. Ms. Haskell, Wolf, not divorce can be avoided. What gave the depression to stay was a previous kind of 30 years plus response. That's a death, not previous who repeated weighted average discount rates close to zero. Money supplies continue right. Fiscal policy has been far more aggressive, and future growth will be slow due to consumers and home 10 U.S. economic growth slowed. And one clear reason the budget and consumers will remain frugal. Underlying growth looks like a weak. All indicators suggest the second half growth will be no faster, and they can't actually solve the economy because interest groups will continue to reckon after the plan is passed. The year 9. Serious question and opportunity to do things you couldn't do before. Successful country give rise to interest group. The accumulated influence over time. This country's long period of economic pyramid that produce an interest group that reaches sufficient aggregate income. Hopeful to real estate agent to make the real estate problem possible. In good times, political will to be passionate policy simplest and business crisis changes the dynamic. Now, the U.S. economy is not key to the global economy, not expanding the 2NC, but our Bush market indicates the Asian and Rhode Island, the U.S. export market due to mass creation of jobs and rise by Asian middle class filter financial markets, avoid the credit best emerging markets, prevent global economic downturn means that they can't access their Russia or China standards because they're all based on the U.S. economy decreasing, and then those countries lashing out as a result of their economies decreasing as well. Here's more evidence that U.S. economy is not key. Fletcher 10. We live in a global economy, truly border flow. We've been implied that imports and exports make up 75% of our economy. Our total trade is 25%. The unified world economy made the rich and interest profit have equal after there's no near being cash flow. The economy rates network region link and national economies are vast sectors that are not traded at all. Although liquid financial capital can flash over the world, this only fraction of any nation capital stock to existing geographic combination, capitalist the self-enforcing, the good fiscal structure, basic security, local education, sound currency, and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship matters. Now you should for our authors. You are title on emphasis kids. Their authors are influenced by the profit mode and don't reflect empirical evidence that claims their self-fulfilling prophecy of increasing visas at the expense of U.S. At the expense of people in the United States to make the economy stronger. Now, our conflict argument, I'm not going for it as offense, but it's a reason that they can actually access any of their growth-based advantage. Our Bowman representative indicates that economic growth makes conflicts more likely to escalate because leaders are more willing to go into conflict if they have a strong economy. It answers the diversionary war scenario because the leaders will never lash out when they have a poor economy because they don't have enough resources. The public will prevent them from ever doing that. They would only enter a conflict if they are 100% certain that they could win, which means that they can access any conflict escalation arguments. You should prefer our study because their evidence is not empirical, lacks coherent definitions, and doesn't specify the duration of growth. Now, interdependence and nuclear weapons will not prevent war, loss of autonomy, access to resources, and the cost of war all prove our Gallup analysis is much more qualified than any of their pieces of evidence. This is called for international political economy. The professor and a professor of politics and international affairs from Woodrow Wilson School, it indicates that war independence does not bring an end to war since states are still prepared to advance their interests at the expense of others. The additional recession does not cause protectionism. Beauty 10. Thanks, my global protection filter. Period. The WTO recorded modest increase in trade barriers. At most 4.4% of world trade has been affected by import barriers. G2NE. Members continue to keep domestic production pressures all under control despite employment levels are shrinking, and our coal pandemics indicate that interdependence is more likely to cause war because other countries are more likely to fight in order to gain resources. England and France trade with Germany. This is not prevent them from fighting World War II. World War wars now a record of. If there's no risk of the use of China war, ban no opposite indicates America's military capabilities are far superior to China today, and they know what China might care about Taiwan, but the history of the state proves they are probably not very likely to be involved in a long, drawn-out conflict that involves a substantial portion of the economy and their military. Russia is also not a threat. Our PINA evidence indicates Russia can challenge the U.S. economically and military. Their GDP is a tenth of the United States. There's no impact to Russian economic clubs. Frida, evidence indicate that Russia's economy has been a wreck for most of its history as a result of geography, infrastructure, demography. There's no correlation between the state of their economy and how aggressive they are. You should prefer this evidence because it's a professor of political science, CEO of Stratford. Their evidence is written by crazy Russians.
Okay, let's talk about this Fletcher 10 evidence that you read on just U.S. economy not key to global. You say we live in a global economy, truly borderless world would imply that imports and exports would each make up 75% of the economy. Is that the litmus test for why it won't spill over?
I guess I'm not really sure what you mean by litmus test, but that evidence cites like 4 different reasons why the economy is no longer globalized. The first being just that our trade should show that imports should be
short. I understand that. What does this assume? Anything like free flow of information, free flow of, say, like advancements which can't be in the form of, I don't know, commodities or goods because those have been taken care of.
I'm honestly not really sure what you mean by that.
Okay.
Yes, it assumes the free flow of goods and technology. That evidence and the brush evidence just indicates that Asia is no longer reliant on the U.S. export market, so even if your argument about like free flow of goods is true, it's irrelevant to the global economy. There's enough consumers in Asia that they can fuel demand within their own countries and don't rely on the U.S. anymore.
That's fine. Your Xinhua evidence, what is the beta factor? You say the beta factor measures sensitivity, which
I didn't read that piece of evidence.
You didn't read it? Okay.
No.
Can I get that flashlight again? Yep. Thanks. All right, just read the AP and TIM evidence that Asia has decoupled.
I only read Fletcher.
Okay. All right.
And then brush from the
Okay. Fair. All right. Let's talk about your Gilpin evidence. You say nuclear weapons have done little to remove the possibility of war. Limited wars continue with the threat of nuclear war, may too frequently. You cite loss of autonomy and access to resources as a reason why Gilpin talks specifically about answering the trade portion.
No, the second line that you didn't read, so the first line was about nuclear weapons. The second portion of that evidence is about interdependence.
Levels of interdependence have a destabilizing form. What type of interdependence does Gilpin assume?
Does Gilpin assume?
Yeah. What type of interdependence is he talking about?
Economic interdependence?
Just economic, does that assume just free through like trade and commodification? That part? Okay. And in addition to that, want to clarify on the counterplan, you only read theory defense, correct?
Yeah, we're not going for the counterplan.
Yeah.
Real quick,
I
did you
understand.
guys read Tucker, Value to Life?
No.
Okay, cool.
Alright. Let's talk about the warming impact. Your Zhang card says that long-term fluctuations of war, frequency, and population changes follow the cycles of temperature change. That worldwide and synchronistic war, peace, population, price cycles in recent history have been driven by climate change. How does this implicate us?
It's just an argument that, like, if you try and go for some type of conflict argument between two countries, like, we control an internal link to that because warming is the reason that those conflicts would break out.
Fair.